Today, I'm very excited because I'm going to share with you the interview that I did to one of our graduates in HIC Parenting Education. And this mom, first time generation Asian here in the United States, shared how she healed her inner child, and she's now raising emotionally confident children. She went from frustration, from overwhelm, to feeling connected to her children and their needs. So, what is your inner child? When you were raised, you had physical and emotional needs. So if your physical and emotional needs were not all the way taken care of, then those needs remain. And then they show up through different ways in our lives as adults, especially once we have children. These unmet physical and emotional needs from childhood show up when we show up for our kids, or when we interact with our kids, when we witness our kids during their meltdowns, during their back talk, during their hitting, during their behaviors, or when we just see our children relate to us and to others. These unmet needs from childhood flare up. And that's what we call the inner child in us speaking to us. Hey, you still have this need. You still have this need. When we go back in us and heal our inner child, meaning that we give our inner child what we needed growing up, and we are able to decode the way our inner child is showing up in our parenting, we can get to heal our inner child and not transfer our childhood wounds to our children. So that's what's going to be this podcast episode. If you are ready to heal your inner child through this story of Susan, one of our clients, buckle up, because you are going to see a lot of things that might have not been in your awareness, and are going to help you to raise emotionally healthy children. Hi, Susan.
Hi, Marcela.
So you are at your finish line in the Parenting with Understanding program here in HIC Parenting. I'm very curious, where were you at emotionally in your parenting before you enrolled in HIC Parenting, and where are you at right now?
So, right when I decided to sign up for HIC Parenting, I was kind of in a place where I thought I had collected a lot of information on how I should be parenting. I thought I knew all of the tips, how to approach things, but I found myself doing my best, and then majority of the time at the end of the day or at a weak moment, just running into those same bad habits and allowing myself to just kind of blow up or, kind of yell at my kids and then feeling the remorse afterwards. And then just thinking back, wow, I wish I could have handled that differently. It got to a point where it got so bad that I was like, these kids are uncontrollable. I need help. I need professional help. And, collecting the information online through social media just wasn't enough for me. And I needed some real custom and nuanced support. So that's why I decided to sign up for HIC Parenting. When I'm looking at myself now after the whole program, it's like a weight has been lifted. And personally, I feel like I am the person that I should be, and all of the things that were holding me back, like even anxiety, which was a big thing for me personally, I have seriously been lifted. I found myself finding a lot of healing internally going through this whole process. I mean, there were sessions where I had epiphanies. I cried, you know, and coming from first generation, my parents are immigrants. Like it's really hard, and also just I never even saw myself as someone that needed that sort of support and healing. But then I realized, like, wow, like what I went through wasn't really healthy or normal. It doesn't mean that my parents are bad people. It just means that they didn't have the understanding that they needed to reach out to me in the way that I needed them to. But that never really manifested in a way where I felt like I needed to fix it until I had kids. So up until then, I was able to manage it. I'm very like type A. I always considered myself very stable mentally, but when you're a parent, you're constantly brought to a position where you're strained. Your children are very demanding and there is very little rest. And those weaknesses that you have within yourself manifest. And that's kind of like why you're always like, why do I keep going into this? Why do I keep doing this? And then feel remorse afterwards. Like, how can I fix this? And then it just became very clear to me. So my children and I now are in such a wonderful place. We're so well connected and they're so open and they feel so safe. They feel so stable. I feel stable. And it's just wonderful.
That is so amazing. That gave me goosebumps. I want I want to cry with you and celebrate. That's incredible because a lot of parents are in the exact position where you were before you start the program. Of I know a lot of head knowledge. I know a lot of concepts, perhaps scripts from social media, but somehow it's not transferring in the heat of the moment with the kids. I'm very curious about something. What was missing for you? Because you said that you had a lot of tools and knowledge and concepts. You were an educated parent before you enrolled in HIC Parenting. What did HIC Parenting Coaching gave you that social media and books and self-paced courses didn't give you?
Yeah, so HIC parenting helped me heal my inner child, and that's the biggest step to being able to be a good parent is your inner child is screaming back at you. When your child is having a tantrum and you're reaching your boiling point and your emotions just pour out, it's because your inner child was not faced with grace and compassion in those same moments. And so that voice, I mean, I think on social media or something, I read somewhere like your voice as a parent to your child eventually becomes their subconscious thought as an adult. And reading that, especially after this program, I see that to be incredibly true. So the biggest part would be tapping in to my inner child and healing that inner child, telling that child, you don't have to be perfect. You don't have to worry and stress about it. And I say that because anxiety was my biggest thing. So, like, when even the smallest thing would go wrong, I'm planning and planning to the detail. When the smallest thing goes wrong, I had a disproportionate response to it. And it all just boils down to your inner child.
Yeah. Thank you for sharing that. So, social media gives you awareness that there is a better way of parenting the kids. And I hear you say that coaching is what brings in the healing, what brings in the transformation from the inside out. And I say that because a lot of parents come to our free parenting assessment calls looking for solutions to fix a behavior when the answer is within themselves. Because when we start showing up differently for our kids start showing up differently for us and for themselves. So thank you for sharing that. I wonder, did you have any hesitation before enrolling in HIC parenting? You did not know you were going to have this kind of transformation before you enrolled. So if you had a hesitation, what was it and how you overcame that hesitation?
Yeah, so, it is a commitment. It's a 14-week commitment, which is a big deal. It's not insignificant. And I was like, what if it doesn't work? There was a fear of failure at the end of it all. That was my biggest fear, to have been at the end of my rope, looked for professional help, and been like, wow, I still failed, even with professional help.
And what helped you overcome that fear and say, yes, I'm going to step outside that fear and then just take the next step?
So seeing other testimonials definitely helped, which is why I definitely wanted to make a point and take the time to make my own testimonial, seeing that there is a community created among graduates of the program. So it was very clear to me that this program was effective for so many others.
What would you tell a parent who is on the fence of, I wonder if I should go forward? Perhaps my family has a very particular situation. I don't know if this would work for my neurodivergent child or my very specific thing. What would you say to that parent who's thinking about their very particular family dynamic?
I think that no matter what differences you have, your child may have, the fact that you yourself have been a child, have lived a childhood that may have or may have not been less than perfect, means that you have something to gain from this program. Because if you are even looking for some kind of guidance, this program transcends any specific or dramatic situation, because the support that you need is your inner child, which everyone has. So
Mhm.
go for it.
Now, I want to know, how did your co-parenting dynamic change versus compared to how it was before you enrolled in HIC parenting?
Yeah, I'm very fortunate where my husband is very, very, very involved. And I know that many families don't always have that. And he also grew up in a very stable and supportive and loving family. And they still are to this day. So before the program, he's always been the voice of reason and calm for me when I reached those breaking points with my children. And I now find myself supporting him more often as well, and not just being the receiver of the support. And that's super helpful because it's not always on him to kind of reconcile.
So you guys became a team.
Exactly.
Wow, that's transformational, not just for the parenting dynamic, but for your relationship with him, even. Thank you for sharing that with us. And thank you for allowing us to pour into your parenting. And I cannot wait to see what else comes for your family.
Thank you. Thank you for helping me change my entire life. This has been wonderful.
Susan said it. One thing is to get parenting education from TikToks and Reels, and another different thing is working directly with a professional who is trained to help you see your inner child so you're able to heal it and raise emotionally healthy children. If you are ready to start your transformation to bring a lot more peace to your parenting, I have an invitation for you. We open up our calendar here in HIC Parenting so you can book a free, yes, a complimentary parenting assessment call with me or one of our HIC parenting advisors. On this call, this is not a coaching session or a consultation. This is an assessment call where we are going to get to understand your needs, your desires, to see what's keeping you from raising emotionally healthy children and bringing the peace that you want to bring to your family. And from there, from the nuances of what you need, we give you a roadmap to success. And at the end, if you want to continue the personalized support with our coaching services, we will enroll you as an HIC parenting client. So all you have to do to book your call is go to our calendar. So you go to apply.hicparenting.com, or you open the description of this podcast episode, or you go to the link in our bio at High Impact Club on any social media platform, and the link is there. Go there, schedule your call, If you parent together with your spouse, choose a time and a date that works for both of you, because we need to assess the entire dynamic and they are part of that dynamic. So you can attend together and come ready to learn a lot about you and your family and start your transformation towards more peace. If this podcast episode or any other episode on the Parenting with Understanding podcast gave you more understanding of yourself and of your children, leave us a positive review. All you have to do is, again, open the podcast episode and then write a positive review to help us get to more parents. Remember, it only takes understanding to transform your parenting and break your cycle. I'll see you next time.